Did you catch it? There is a WWE wrestler in that movie clip you just watched. In the background, that's the first ever winner of Tough Enough, Maven. But he's just one of many WWE wrestlers who have secretly appeared in movies. Like, before he was a Hollywood superstar, and even before he had stepped foot in a WWE ring, John Cena appeared in the background of a rather ironic movie. The film Ready to Rumble was created to help promote WCW, WWE's biggest competitor in the late 90s. In one of the scenes, the characters are at a gym, and in the background, you can see a young John Cena pumping iron. This was a real gym in California that John Cena just happened to be training at when the movie was filmed. Since he looked the part and was there anyway, he got to be in the movie. Ironic that the future of WWE got started in a WCW project. However, John Cena isn't the only WWE wrestler to get their start in humble places. Macho Man Randy Savage as Bonesaw McGraw in the first Spider-Man movie is iconic, but Savage isn't the only WWE wrestler to appear in a Spider-Man film. At the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, the film's main villain, the Vulture, is arrested and walking around in prison. Alongside the supervillain are two rows of inmates. One of those inmates is Austin Theory, who got the role while competing as an independent wrestler. What's interesting is that the movie's producers told Theory not to touch the prison bars. That's because the scene was being shot in a real prison, and they didn't want to rally up the actual inmates. Speaking of superhero movies, Sheamus had his big Hollywood breakout when he starred in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 in 2016. However, he was not the first WWE wrestler to appear in the Turtleverse. Back in 1991, another Ninja Turtles movie was released called The Secret of the Ooze. In the climax of the movie, the film's villain, Shredder, drinks the titular ooze. This causes him to become Super Shredder. You wouldn't know it, but inside that costume is Big Sexy himself, Kevin Nash. Unfortunately, Nash's appearance is brief, as Super Shredder ends up doing himself in. It was at least a big enough role for CM Punk to reference it 20 years later.
Secondly, it appears that you have more excuses than you have nicknames. Isn't that right? Big Daddy Cool Diesel! Maybe Super Shredder? I don't think a lot of people are gonna get that one.
The leader of the Barrett Barrage made his movie debut in a low-key sort of way. In the 2013 film Dead Man Down, Wade Barrett plays Kilroy, a henchman for the film's main villain. Barrett's screen time is limited, and a number of the shots are from his back or he's out of focus. It was such a small role. Despite that, Wade does get in on the action and even has a few lines.
Get the out of here!
Look up.
In the end, Wade Barrett lives up to his character's name as he's killed in a fiery blaze. The 2013 action comedy film Pain and Gain features not one, but two WWE wrestlers. The obvious one is, of course, The Rock, who plays an ex-con who teams up with Mark Wahlberg. However, the second wrestler makes a small but pretty cool appearance. While in prison, The Rock gets into a fight with some of the inmates, and one of them just happens to be an Olympic gold medalist. Yep, Kurt Angle and The Rock took their feud from the squared circle and onto the big screen. However, the People's Champion made pretty short work of Kurt Angle. Kurt's biggest mistake, though, was using a headlock and not the ankle lock. Now that was a bit more obvious, but this next wrestler's appearance is the definition of blink and you'll miss it. Foxcatcher is a biopic based on the real-life story of two Olympic wrestlers and their tragic entanglement with a disturbed millionaire. Now, the film is about Olympic wrestling and not pro wrestling. But that didn't stop one WWE wrestler from sneaking his way into the movie. During a scene where a number of wrestlers are being weighed in, the Beast Brock Lesnar briefly appears in the background. Unfortunately, he doesn't F5 anyone, but it's still cool seeing Brock nonetheless. Have you ever wondered how Sheamus got the nickname the Celtic Warrior? Well, it came from a 2009 horror movie called The Legend of Dogg. In it, Sheamus plays a zombie called Celtic Warrior. Sheamus' screen time is cut short when he gets shot and burned by the Hunter.
And a smoke while you're at it.
If I had a nickel every time a WWE wrestler got burned alive in this video, well, you know the rest. Sometimes it's just about being at the right place at the right time. After they left WWE, Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg were attending a Knicks basketball game just as fans. However, while there, Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg sat in front of them and began filming a scene for the 2010 movie, The Other Guys. The New Age Outlaws didn't say anything, or really do much, but they did make it into the movie for 3 seconds. The box office bomb, Rollerball, is another film that features two wrestling personalities. The first is front and center, and that's Paul Heyman. In a prime example of ideal casting, Heyman plays a commentator for a sport called Rollerball, basically an extreme version of roller derby.
I don't understand a word you're saying to me, sweetheart. But maybe if you say it louder, I will understand you even better. Hey, I get it. Your nipples get hard at the very sight of me, right?
That's pretty awesome. But there's another wrestling personality in this movie, but his role is a lot more low-key. In a handful of scenes, Shane McMahon shows up as a media mogul. Like a lot of wrestlers we've talked about, Shane O'Mac doesn't really say or do anything, besides looking to his left and looking mildly concerned. But it's still nice to see him. Shoot 'Em Up is a movie about a baby with no father, so it's only fitting that this wrestler makes an appearance in the film. The main character of Shoot 'Em Up, a former Black Ops soldier named Smith, confronts a corrupt politician on a plane. One of the politician's bodyguards is played by Captain Charisma, Christian. Unfortunately, Christian doesn't get in on the action that much, but he'll be happy to know the baby's dad is dead. While Christian didn't kill anyone, I'm pretty sure this next wrestler did. The 1996 Christmas film Jingle All the Way stars WWE Hall of Famer Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold is trying to get his hands on the hottest-selling Christmas toy so he can get it for his son. This leads to a scene where Schwarzenegger finds himself in a toy black market where everyone dresses like Santa Claus. Big Show is amongst the group of Santas, and he lays a smackdown on Arnold. That is, until this happens.
Little buddy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy is dead, but it's cool knowing where Big Show got his WMD finisher from. You will never guess which wrestler appears in this next scene. The Rookie is a police crime drama TV show, and the first episode of season 4 features a WWE legend. Towards the end of the episode, Wesley, one of the show's main characters, is about to be killed by two bad guys. One of them is played by third-generation superstar Chavo Guerrero. He puts up a fight and even manages to hit a spear. However, it's ultimately a punt kick that does Chavo in. 2004's sports comedy film Dodgeball is about a ragtag team of nobodies entering a dodgeball tournament in order to win the prize money and save their gym. Pretty typical stuff. What makes it interesting is the brief appearance of a WWE wrestler. Before one of the dodgeball games, a group of cheerleaders performs for the crowd. One of them is played by WWE diva Candice Michelle. It's a very brief role, but real ones would have already known this from those SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 load screens. The 2020 DC superhero movie Birds of Prey is another film with not one, but two WWE wrestlers in it. In the climax of the movie, Harley Quinn's team gets attacked by a group of bad guys. The leader of the baddies is played by one half of Crime Time, Shad Gaspard. Unfortunately, his role is pretty small. But Shad isn't the only WWE alumni in the scene. Most of the bad guys are wearing masks, and underneath one of them is John Morrison. We don't see Jomo's face, but we do see his abs. No homo. The Wrestler is a movie about a wrestler. But what might surprise you is that there are actually quite a few wrestlers in it. For instance, when the main character, a washed-up wrestler named Randy the Ram, goes backstage, we get to see BWO's very own Blue Meanie. However, the best wrestler appearance in the movie has to be R-Truth. Truth is only in the film for a brief moment, but he shows us exactly why we love him.
All right.
So how you been, man?
Oh, hanging and swinging, brother.
You swinging?
Same
I get a
thing.
couple of drinks.
Get a drink? You buying?
I'll buy
You buying?
Now, The Undertaker has also appeared in a movie, but what's strange is he doesn't sound like The Undertaker at all. To hear the dead man's movie voice, watch the video on screen.